welcome to the next video in the MSI 2024 series, where we're going to cover the two series that took place earlier today in the play-in stage between T1 and FlyQuest, as well as Fnatic and Top Esports. We have the four major regions trying to duke it out to get into the main event, and then preview the two series that are going to take place tomorrow to find out who plays the losers of these two matchups. So first we had T1 FlyQuest. It was a dominant performance by T1. Some saying it's even more dominant than the loss that Mad Lions Koi faced. Now Mad Lions Koi, formerly Mad Lions, many years ago. It was a complete plot, like a 17-minute win by T1 in Game 1, just absolutely smacking the hell out of them. Despite only taking the first turret at 13:45, they had an over 1k gold lead in all four roles. 1.9k for the jungle, 28 CS lead for Owner over Inspired, and that's a big deal because Inspired is the best player in FlyQuest, and he was on a carry-oriented champion in Graves and could not do anything with it. He was gapped. I mean, FlyQuest went top lane to get Blippo ahead, but Zeus and Owner bailed themselves out of that. Zeus playing exceptionally well on the Ornn and turned that game around. And once it started getting moving, it was an unstoppable avalanche of dominance out of T1. So they took all six grubs in that one, 2 Drakes, but they ended the game before even Barons could spawn. I mean, it was one of the most dominant performances we've seen internationally between major region teams all time. Definitely top 5 with ease. Top 3 as well. You could probably easily argue that also. Game 2, a little closer. Is hard to match that. FlyQuest did have some oomph in the early game. They were able to get a gold lead in top lane for Blippo on the Gragas. They did do a lane swap. However, they once again were just behind the 8 ball. T1 taking all the grubs. T1 taking the majority of the objectives. This did at least get to the Baron phase of the game after 20 minutes. At 9:30, though, T1 did take the first turret. Guma on the Callista, as laning phase ended, really took over, and as well as Keria. Keria, I believe, is on the Ashe in Game 2. Because it was Senna TK and then Callista Ashe in Game 2, and Keria was nasty as well. So the totals in this series, T1 made 10 plays, in my opinion. FlyQuest only 2. So clearly T1 getting things going in Game 2. They went topside quite a bit. And in part, those 3 times, it was like diving Blippo and then Jensen trying to come in. Or I think it may have been diving Masu. Either way, Jensen just kind of TP'd into his own death. Based on my stats, Jensen still has not beaten Faker in an international event. In terms of power plays, T1 did have a 4,300 gold power play. I think they ended the game off of that one. 5 Drakes to 1 in this series, 12 grubs to none, 2 Heralds to 1. I mean, none. I mean, it was just destruction. It wasn't even freaking close. 3.9k gold lead for Guma Keria in the bot lane in this Game 2. In total, for the stats, Guma went 14-0-17, 29% of damage. So 14 kills, 17 assists, 0 deaths. Masu didn't get a single kill at the 80 carry role for FlyQuest, just to show how dominant this performance was. 0-5-4 and 30% of damage in the loss. I thought going into this one, FlyQuest might be able to take a game. It was not the case. T1 showed up in a big way. Goes to show, hey, maybe we shouldn't put too much stock in just one series. After that, Fnatic Top Esports, a close fight. Fnatic playing very aggressive in games 1 and 2, and that gave them an opportunity. They really had a chance to 2-0 Top Esports today. However, in Game 3, Top would return to form. The bot duo of Top Esports being the difference maker. In all 3 games, they had at least a 40 CS lead, and in 2 of them, a 50 CS lead when the first turret fell. I mean, that is absolute domination. Jackie Love Mako just taking Noah and June for a walk. June did have nice plays, specifically on the Renata, but that just isn't enough. That was not enough. Noah was turbo gapped in this series. So game one, Top Esports win at about 14 minutes. The first turret fell. We saw a 500 gold lead for 369, a 1.6k gold lead for Humanoid, and then a 3.3k gold lead for the bot lane of Top Esports. So Humanoid, very strong on the LeBlanc in game one and then in game two as well, gapping Cream in my opinion, solo killing him at certain points. Now, Cream did return the favor in game three, but Humanoid did get the better of him in this series. In game one, Top Esports would take one Baron, getting about 3,700 gold out of it. 4 of the 6 Grubs. This was the first series where I could say Grubs were actually contested. In all 3 games, they were split up, nobody getting all of them. It goes 8 for Fnatic and 10 for Top Esports, so it's definitely something interesting. The first time at this event across the 6 series we've seen. 2-1 in Drake, so Drake's not being as high of a priority. Jackie on the Lucian, though, was just unstoppable after a certain point. Humanoid trying to match him, but it just wasn't enough. 369 having more impact than Oscar in game one. Now, game two, Oscar got the better of 369. Big time. Humanoid over Cream as well, but Oscar on the Camille had a 1.5k gold lead into K-Sante for 369. 19 CS lead. We will say Fnatic did go topside twice. That is something to note. I would say Razork did get ahead of Tien in terms of making plays. Tien did take his share of objectives, though. We saw in this series he took 2 Rift Heralds. The Drakes were split 5-5. So, I mean, he needed to play better. I don't like Tien on carry-oriented champions. We saw Viego's in Zhao mirror matchup, game 1, game 2. I would prefer to see him on things like he was in game 3, which I believe was Maokai. He did get caught out once or twice in game 3, which is not great. But one time actually caused Jackie Love and Mako to win a team fight in the enemy jungle and able to actually start taking that game over. And we'll discuss that in a second. But 1.8k gold lead for Jackie Love Mako in game 2. At the end of laning phase, once again, around 14 minutes. Fnatic, though, once they took the Baron, it was definitely the best Baron I've seen in quite a while. An 8,000 gold power play Baron. They ended the game off of it. A lot of sieging going on in that one. Top Esports just could not stop Fnatic from taking the Nexus. It was like, okay, we're done. We're moving on to the next game. And with that, we'll segue into the next game. So game 3, Top Esports at 14 minutes ahead in all 4 roles in both gold and CS. So this whole, I think 369 even returned the favor onto Oscar, maybe solo killing him in game 3. Or maybe 369 solo killed Humanoid. I think that's what it was. Humanoid on the Talia, not as impactful. It's not as strong, carry-oriented, in my opinion. It's quite like the LeBlanc. And Cream on the Tristana, once he started getting kills, he started doing what I like Tristanas to do. Siege, take turrets, and then get more gold and deal more damage. And Cream was on it in game 3. He really responded to the pressure. In terms of gold diffies, 1.1k gold lead for Jackie Love Mako in game 3 at 14 minutes. Tien had 700 over Razork. So over the 3 games, 700 gold lead for Razork total. CS, it was in favor of Tien by about 14. So, it is what it is. It's pretty even between the two, at least in terms of stats in the laning phase. But once again, what did you get done also matters. Like Razork helping Humanoid, helping Oscar. And then those two really running games 1 and 2 for Fnatic. Important, where Jackie Love kind of did his own thing, getting the team ahead pretty much by himself. There were moments where they 2v3'd when Razork would go bot lane. Jackie looked very, very good. Looked like the second best ADC at this tournament, which a lot of people, I think I might have had him third. I did have him third, didn't I? I think a lot of people thought Jackie wasn't going to show up at this tournament, though. So he's looking good, the former world champion. In terms of totals for this series, Fnatic had 9 attempts at a play, Top Esports 6. In terms of grubs, like I said, 10-8 in favor of Top Esports. Drake split 5-5. Fnatic had that one Baron that was worth over 8,000 gold. Top Esports had 2. with an average of about 4,160. They would end the game with the one in game 3. Jakilev went 17, 6, and 13, 32% of damage in the win. I think 950 DPM or so. Humanoid, 18, 11, 9, 30% of damage in the loss. It would have been nice to see him not on Talia in game 3, but that is what it is. Preview for tomorrow. PSG Esports from the PCS, Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. And then, well, also Australia and Japan now. So definitely includes a lot. Oceania, sorry, not necessarily Australia, Oceania. And then Astral Esports representatives from Latin America. So they've never played. Their players have never crossed paths ever in a competitive event. So we're going to have to look at the bans and how these teams fared in their first series, how they approached it. PSG played FlyQuest in 3 games. Top lane, they banned out Renekton, Urgot, TF. I could see them banning out Renekton again. That was because they were into Bwipo. In terms of jungle, they banned out Lee Sin and Poppy, so they didn't want to play into Inspired's Lee Sin or Poppy. Jose Deodo does play Lee Sin, so we might see that ban again. Against Junjia, he faced a Wukong Volibear Xin Zhao ban. We'll see what Astral ends up doing with that. I think Jose Deodo and Junjia is the closest matchup in this series. Mid lane, PSG left things alone, but they did face Ahri bans. In bot lane, they would ban out Lucian, but then did not face any bans themselves. And then Renata was banned against PSG by FlyQuest. So that is a thing. Astral Esports, they played T1, so that was a tough series. Astral would ban out Zeus's Twisted Fate. And then also face Rumble and Udyr bans. I'm not surprised by that to see T1 ban out Rumble. It is a champion that could 1v9. Getting that out of play is a good move. In the jungle, they took out Owners, J4, and Nocturne. Decent bans. Going into Junjia, we may see a J4 ban again. I think he played it against FlyQuest. Jose Deodo did take the bulk of the ban, Sejuani Vai Xin Zhao. So we'll see how many of the 10 bans end up being jungles tomorrow in these games. Bot lane bans, Astral really tried to put Gumacaria in a position. It didn't work, but they banned out Senna, Varus, Ashe. And then they also faced a Nautilus ban themselves. So, I mean, this is definitely a tough series. Astral looked very good into T1. PSG, frankly, in my opinion, FlyQuest played the strongest of the 4 major region teams, and PSG is the best of the minor region teams, just based on regional hierarchy. And they could have won Game 2 when they stole that Baron, win the team fight after, but they didn't. And in the end, they lost in 3 games. So it was a close one. GAM Esports from Vietnam and Loud from Brazil. They played each other 2 times in, 2 series, 4 total games at Worlds 2023 back in September. So we'll look at those matchups. The top side of the rift remains the same. GAM Esports have swapped out mid and, they were forced to swap out mid and AD carry due to a betting scandal, and then support was of their own volition. Loud replaced their support. So, in the 4 games, Kiea doubles up Robo in KDA, 2.6 to 1.3. Those games were split 2-2, by the way, between the teams. Kiea had 4 solo kills onto Robo, though, in those 4 games. Robo with none. He also was ahead on average, 337 gold, 4 CS, and 587 XP. So he was, slightly ahead in lane. Levi and Croc. Levi had a 2.7 KDA in those 4 games. Croc 1.1. Croc did have a 280 gold lead, but Levi a 10 CS lead and 191 XP. So that topside matchup, very important in that series because that's where GAM gets all their firepower because they literally have a sub mid laner and a journeyman AD carry on their team that have no business being at this event. So it is going to be a tough task for GAM if Loud play the way they did against top esports. We will see quite a matchup. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.